Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of Strength of Materials. In this session, I will discuss about a topic of temperature stresses and strains in simple bar and then in composite bars. This is a very important topic as far as stresses and strains are concerned. So let's start. First, I'll talk about a simple bar. You can see a bar over here. One end is fixed and it is at say some room temperature T1 degree Celsius. And then I heat the bar and I change the temperature to T2 degree Celsius. So I can say that there is a small change in temperature T, which is T2 minus T1. You can observe that initially the length was L, and once you heat the material, obviously there will be some elongation in the material because there will be some expansion. So this is the length L and there is a small elongation delta L in the bar. This is also called as free expansion because you are not constraining the other end, you are just allowing the bar to freely expand. Now it is observed that this delta L change in length is directly proportional to the change in temperature. If you increase the temperature T2, obviously this value of T will increase, and once the temperature increases, more and more amount of expansion will take place in the bar. So delta L is proportional to T. Also this delta L is directly proportional to the length. The more the material, obviously more you will find the expansion. So when I combine these two equations, I can write therefore delta L is directly proportional to L and it is also proportional to the term T. Now in mathematics, when I remove the proportionality sign, I will have to substitute it with an equal to and a constant of proportionality. Here the constant of proportionality is alpha and these are the two terms L and T. So we get the equation delta L is equal to L alpha T or alpha L into T. This term alpha is called as coefficient of thermal expansion. This term has a very unique unit. We will observe if I take alpha on one side and rest of the terms on the other side, I will get alpha is equal to delta L by L into T. Now delta L and L, assume that they are in mm, so this unit will be mm upon mm, and the unit of temperature you can see over here is degree Celsius. So these two units get cancelled out and what remains as a unit of alpha is per degree Celsius or per Kelvin. This can also be written as Celsius inverse, degree Celsius inverse or Kelvin inverse. So these are the units of alpha. Next, these are some materials and their coefficient of thermal expansion. Steel, the value is 12 into 10 raised to minus 6. Unit is per degree Celsius. For copper, the value is 17.5 into 10 raised to minus 6. For brass, this value is 19 into 10 raised to minus 6. And for aluminium, it is 23 into 10 raised to minus 6. Now, you will understand that as the value of alpha increases, obviously the value of expansion is going to increase, or more will be the amount of expansion in the material if the value of alpha is more. If you observe here, the value of alpha for copper is more than steel. So when you heat copper, this will expand more as compared to steel, and similarly you can compare the other materials as well with each other. Next we will talk about a topic which is free and prevented expansion. As you can see in the diagram, if you observe the simple bar, from both the ends I have constrained it, which means both the ends I have kept fixed. This is some room temperature which is T1 degree Celsius. Say if I heat this bar of length L to T2 degree Celsius. So like the previous problem, the change in temperature is T2 minus T1. So say you increase, if there is free expansion, which means there is no constraint, as you saw previously, this bar is free to expand and you will see an expansion of L alpha T as we just discussed. But if you observe this kind of a problem where there is a constraint, then this bar wants to expand, but because of the constraint from both ends, it cannot expand. So this end, you can say, will offer a force or an opposing force to the expansion in the material. Now since there is an opposing force and this material wants to expand, so what will be generated in the material is called as stress. This is the basic definition of stress. If you recollect, we have discussed in the second and the third lecture. So obviously there will be stresses in the material which are generated because of rise of temperature and obviously this is called as prevented expansion. Since there are temperature stresses, there will be temperature strain as well. Now in this figure, if you observe, delta L is actually L alpha T, which would have happened had it been a free expansion. Now since it is prevented expansion and this amount of expansion is supposed to happen at T2 degrees Celsius, this I will equate to PL upon EA. If you recollect, P upon A is stress and L and E are the two terms that I have written, so it is PL upon EA. Now I am going to equate these two terms. Let me take them separately out. So I get therefore L alpha T is equal to sigma L upon E. L and L gets cancelled from both the ends, so I get therefore stress sigma is equal to E alpha T. This is the equation of sigma to be used if there is a case of prevented expansion leading to temperature stress, which is here, and this will obviously lead to temperature strain in the material. Now if I have to talk about strain, then I can simply divide sigma upon E. So I get therefore sigma upon E, which is strain, is equal to alpha T. So this is the equation to be used for temperature strain. Next we will discuss about yielding of support. Now we have discussed that there is prevention of expansion from both the sides when the bar is changing its temperature from T1 to T2 degrees Celsius. So free expansion will lead to delta L as we just discussed. So delta L is equal to L alpha T. Now at T2 degrees Celsius, when I have a prevented expansion, suppose this expansion is prevented, but this support over here yields, means it is just getting pushed a little bit ahead because of the expansion of material. So what happens over here is a little increase in length, but this value delta, as you can see, which is because of yield of support, will be less than L alpha T, which means this delta will never be equal to the amount of expansion which would have happened had it been a free expansion, because this can never equate to that much amount of yield is not possible. But assuming that there is a very small amount of yield which happens in the support because it is little weak at that end, or maybe the expansion is too much for this yield to resist, so there is a small yield, then the formula will change to delta L will be L alpha T minus del. Del is my yield, which will be again equated to sigma L upon E. When I again take out these terms, I get L alpha T minus del is equal to sigma L upon E. So if I have to find the value of sigma, it will be E into L alpha T minus del divided by L. If I divide by L inside, I get E alpha T minus del by L. I'll just close the bracket. So this is the equation for temperature stress in case of a prevented expansion but which leads to a small yield of support. If I have to calculate strain, it will be sigma upon capital E, which is small e, which will be alpha T minus del by L. So this is the formula for temperature strain, and this is the formula for temperature stress. So this is all about temperature, stress and strain in a simple bar. You will have to note that when there is free expansion, there is no term of temperature, stress and strain. I started discussing it when I went to prevented expansion and to yielding of support. So this takes us to another topic, which is of temperature, stresses and composite bars. If I talk about simple bars, I definitely have to talk about bars which are composite in nature. You can see over here, I have taken a fixed end, and there are two bars 1 and 2 which are connected to each other and they are parallel. Let the length of both bars initially be L. Area for the first one is A1 and E1 is the Young's modulus for the first bar. Corresponding values for second bar is A2 and E2. This is at temperature T1. We are assuming that for the first material alpha 1 is greater than the coefficient of expansion alpha 2 for the second material. So when I say alpha 1 is more than alpha 2, I simply mean that if heat is provided to these bars, then first bar will expand more as compared to the second bar. So let me heat the bar freely up to T2 degrees Celsius. So I'll write over here free expansion of each bar. So first one will expand more, and second one will expand less. First one, second one. This was the initial length of the bar, and from here to here is a free expansion. Let me call it as delta L1. So the free expansion of bar 1, which is delta L1, will be L alpha 1 into T. T again is the difference of temperature, T2 minus T1. For the second bar, the value of delta is delta L2. So let me write again the free expansion of bar 2. Delta L2 is L alpha 2 into T. What happens after the final expansion? See, the bars are not separate. If you observe carefully, these are for individual bars, but the bars are actually connected to each other. So they cannot expand freely like this. So we will see a final expansion of this sort. The expansion will neither be this much or this much. It will be somewhere in between these two. And it is something of this height for the first bar and for the second bar. So this is my first bar, second bar. So these are the two bars, and I will observe that this is delta L1 final and this is delta L2 final. Now if you observe over here, this would have been the free expansion of the first bar, but it has got reduced by some value, and this was the free expansion of the second bar, which has got increased by some amount. What exactly happens is the first bar would have expanded more, but the second bar actually pulls it behind and allows only this much amount of expansion. Similarly, the second bar would have expanded less and the first bar will pull it little above. So this comes up to this, it comes up to the height of the first bar. So you will see equal amount of strain in both the material, or I can say that delta L1 final will be equal to delta L2 final. So here what I see is some amount of compression. So this is PC, and what you see over here is tension being applied. So I'll say it is PT of tensile form. Now I can give you a very simple example. You can just remember using that. It is just a silly example, I can say. If somebody is successful, they will try to pull the other person up. So you can see one has expanded more than two. So it will try to pull two above. And what unsuccessful people try to do is try to pull the other person down. So that is what 2 has done to 1, and they have come down to the some level somewhere. Okay, so this is how you can just remember where to apply tension and where to apply compression. Now if you observe this much portion, obviously this is one small change which did not take place. So again the change in length is PL upon EA. So I'll say it is PC. Again it is over length L, and E is E1 and area is A1. For this much portion where the expansion has taken place, I will say it will be PT L upon E2 A2. So let's write down some equations here now. For the first bar, can I say this PC is nothing but sigma 1 A1, and for second bar I can say PT is equal to sigma 2 A2. This is for the second one. This is one set of equation I am going to use. This is another set of equation that I am going to use. Next, we will talk about delta L1 final, which will be equal to delta L2 final over here. So let me write down delta L1 final will be equal to delta L2 final. If you observe carefully, delta L1 final is actually delta L1, that is a free expansion which would have happened minus this much portion which did not happen. So it is PC L upon E1 A1 equal to delta L2 final is delta L2 plus the amount of extra expansion that has taken place. So I'll write delta L2 plus PT L upon E2 A2. Now if I write down the equations, let's substitute equations now. For delta L1 I'm going to write L alpha 1 T. So I'll write L alpha 1 T minus PC is sigma 1 A1 into L upon E1 A1 equal to delta L2 is L alpha 2 T plus PT is sigma 2 A2 L upon E2 A2. This is from 1 and 2. From 1 and 2 equations I am writing these terms. Now let's solve this part. So therefore let's take the common terms together. L alpha 1 T minus L alpha 2 T is equal to sigma 2 A2 gets cancelled and A1 gets cancelled. So I get sigma 2 L upon E2 and I have plus sigma 1 L upon E1. If you observe, L is a common term in each of them. So I can just remove L. So what I get is alpha 1 T minus alpha 2 T is equal to sigma 2 upon E2 plus sigma 1 by E1. Let's take T common over here. So I get alpha 1 minus alpha 2 T is equal to, I will rearrange these terms, sigma 1 upon E1 plus sigma 2 by E2. So this is the equation which we can use for composite bars when there is a change in temperature. With this, I end the theory of temperature, stresses and strain. In the next lecture, I will discuss few numericals on this topic. I hope you have understood the lecture. If you have any doubts or if you want me to solve any numerical, please write to me in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Your subscription is very important to open up other communication ways of YouTube. Hit the bell icon for latest updates of my videos. See you in the next session. Thank you.